Okay, let us get started. I'll update you where I am in a sec. Hello. Oh wait, I need to confine to. I always forget to do that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. You're on the train? Cool. Update for Patreon. I am back in Oregon. Not technically Portland, because we quarantine every time we see Ray and Jane, Ben's parents. So right now we're staying up in Mount Hood, which is like a mountain, and it's cold as fuck, but it's really nice and cozy.
So you're in quarantining then?
What?
So you guys like quarantine?
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, this connection's no good. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well, we might be producerless today, but what you gonna do? Erika Lust is supposed to be coming in. If you Google Erika Lust, there will be some things that you will find, and we'll kind of try and talk about that. Am I not recording anymore? I am. Okay. And yeah, we'll talk about that during the post-coitus. But what we know of Erika Lust initially is that she is a adult film or not performer, maker, and like anytime the word like female friendly porn gets brought up, it's Erika Lust. So she has entered the waiting. Like, do I wait for Gabrielle? I'm like nervous. This is like a big deal. I like to have company. All right, I'm just gonna, I don't even know if I should let them back in. I'm like embarrassed if the connection is bad. Hi.
Hello.
How are you? Okay, awesome.
Good.
We love to see it. Yay.
Now?
Yeah,
Do you
sounds
hear me?
great. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my producer is currently on a train in Israel right now, so I'm going to admit them back into the room. But if their internet is shoddy, they might go in and out. So
okay.
Just to preface that, I'm like a little nervous for it, but I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited to finally meet you.
Thank you very much.
I feel like this has been a long time coming. Pun not intended.
Whew. I'm trying to find energy. I'm a little tired. I had a very busy day, and it's like,
I feel you.
Here,
yeah. What time is it there?
No, it's just 6:00 p.m. But it's
that's still a full day.
I've been up and running since 6:30 a.m. So
oh my god, yeah. No, I'm like I have no excuse except for that I've just been traveling. So I'm like, but like I think we're gonna have.
But that makes you go kind of out of the normal.
Yeah, but like technically it's like noon for me. I should be very awake, and I'm just like, no, I've been traveling. Okay.
So where are you and where have you been?
This is Gabrielle. They're our producer. I was in New York, just like tying up some odds and ends, and now I'm back in Oregon because we think like cases are gonna spike, and we're like,
Yeah.
let's just go to a place that's a little safer.
It's it's a difficult situation. I just got news this afternoon that my older daughter, she's 13, and at her school from tomorrow they're closing for 10 days because there was a kid in another class who supposedly have the coronavirus. And so after this meeting I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna organize
Oh my
the rest
God.
of my week.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll try and get it done so you can do the rest of your day and all
The
that.
new world we live in, it's like it can change any minute.
Literally. I think we've all become very adaptable. That's the only bonus, is like we're like, and more forgiving of each other's time too,
Yeah.
which is nice because like I'm so bad with time anyway. But yeah, so I'll pre-record or I'll post-record your intro, and we can just jump in with the questions that we had discussed. And then if there's anything,
I'm gonna close my emails because they
Cool.
might pop in and that will
Yeah.
sound
I'm
bad,
gonna
I
go on
guess.
airplane mode. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had somebody who like just had a ton of texts come in recently, like
Yeah.
during a recording, and it just and I like couldn't be like, can you stop being so popular? Okay.
Well, I think I'm turned off here.
Okay. Awesome. It's interesting to hear you say that you're turned off when like your job is turning people on, right?
Technology speaking.
But you guys, I'm so excited to have our guest this week. This has been a long time coming, as we've said. Please welcome Erika Lust. Hello.
Da, 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 da. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell everybody where you are zooming in from?
I'm in Barcelona, almost in Barcelona. I'm actually 30 minutes outside Barcelona, but it's still kind of the region. So Spain, for
Roses,
people that know
cataquas.
Europe, the world, the planet, planet Earth. Hello, here I am. And it's 6 p.m. here. So I had a full day, and but I still have some energy for you guys, so don't worry.
We're loving it. Yeah. And I'm back in Oregon and it's 9 a.m. and I'm fine. And Gabrielle is in Israel and I believe it's like 7 p.m. over there. Gav's fine. Everyone's fine. But this week we are talking about porn or erotic film. There are so many words for it. How would you describe the work that you do specifically?
It's always difficult to describe it.
Right?
I used to say that I do like adult films or something like that because they are for an adult audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, they are explicit. You can actually see people having real sex in my films, but still they are very cinematic. Many of them are kind of narrative driven, developed characters, storytelling. Some of them are shorter format. I also do lots of short films, and some of the shorter films are more experimental, or it depends a little because I do lots of different kind of films, but all of them have in common that they somehow talk about sex and sexuality and how we connect with each other sexually. And the whole idea for my films is kind of to go beyond what we normally understand as mainstream pornography.
Yeah, what we're normally seeing.
You know what people. I mean, it has been really an explosion online the last maybe 15 years, we could say at this point, because it has been quite some time now. But since, all these tube sites started to kind of offer films that they call for free for people online, and we can of course talk more about it later on because I don't really believe they are for free, but that's what they are selling. the
Yeah.
idea that they are selling to people.
And they're not great for the performers. Like one of our first guests was an adult film star and she was like, get away from tube sites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk a lot about, ethically producing these kind of films and the work behind the cameras, but I think it's really, really important to start talking more about ethically consuming this kind of film.
Yeah.
Because that's a part that people kind of try to escape from sometimes. They think, nobody sees me. I go online during night, late hours and I do whatever I want to do. And then, I can even erase my history on my computer if I want. So it's kind of, completely clandestine. But in the end, it's not, because if you choose to consume that kind of adult entertainment, then you are part of
it's just like going to eat McDonald's when they were still donating to Trump's campaign. Like I stopped. Is it something huge that I did? Well, yeah, because I eat it every day. You know what I mean? Like you're part of it. It's not, it's the making, it has to be ethical, but also the consumption too. That's a very good note.
Totally. And it's also kind of what is driving people in the, we have seen it, as you said, in the food industry, maybe for different reasons than this political one.
Yeah, or like
for, the sake of the
eating animals. Yeah,
yeah.
Like, whatever it is, like you are contributing in some way.
But I think it's interesting to talk about this kind of consciousness that is growing in our society, and that we have seen the last years becoming more and more important. And we've seen it in the food industry, but we also seen it in the fashion industry when it comes to furniture. It's all over. And I think that people are starting to really become more conscious about their own way of consuming
social impact.
and of the impact it has on everything, really.
Totally. Well, when I first became aware of you, it was under the, like everyone had been saying, oh, you need women-friendly porn, you need feminist porn. And anytime that would be brought up, it was like Erika Lust, women-friendly, feminist porn. So why is your cinema often labeled as for women?
Well, I guess it kind of started like that. I mean, I made my first short film 2004, and we have to remember that the world was a little different back
very
then.
different.
Very different, actually, right? So I think that partly it might be my fault, because when I started, I started saying, hey, I'm doing this for women, because I had the feeling, growing up, having watched some porn, I always had the feeling that it was very much fought for men. It was for male pleasure, that women were used somehow as some kind of complement or some beautiful objects or some kind of tools to male sexuality. But it wasn't really our stories and about our sexual desire and our pleasure and our life. So my point of view when I started was that I wanted to do something different kind of for women. But then that idea has really evolved lots.
Past just what, because that's the other thing is like, there's, what I've come to realize is, I guess it's for women in the sense that like women have been described over history, but it's like what we've learned is like people are people are people. So there are people who like that type of like, oh, just treat a woman like shit porn. And there's people who like a full movie where you have a story and like a vested interest in the characters.
And maybe it's not even about the characters and the cinematographic part of it and the story. Maybe it's just that women are actually treated with respect, and they are actually looking like they are having
a great time.
Pleasure. Not just, those 4 minutes of really hard penetration going in and out, and then she screams like,
no, they make sounds that like no actual human makes, and you're like, oh wait, I must not be having an orgasm because I have never made that sound.
But I mean, it's fiction, and that's I think that's kind of the lesson that we need to learn, that porn is fiction. It's the same. It happens in movies all over. I mean, Superman is flying. There's no people who can actually fly. In porn, people are having orgasms from situations that you would not have in real life. And that's kind of somehow it might be okay, but what I think is not okay is that if we look at it kind of from a structural point of view, it's almost all of the porn that's out there that is
Mhm.
made, with this kind of misogynistic feeling of how they are treating women. It's the
Mhm.
language they are using. It's not only the images and what they are doing to women when they are having sex,
Mhm.
it's also the language and how they are talking about us.
Mm.
Go on any of these tube sites and you will see a language that is all about, drilling and nailing
Right.
and smashing and
Yeah.
punish fucking and
Yeah.
bitch and slut, and it's aggressive. It's
Mhm.
not really about people coming together, having a great time and a great experience of having sex
Mhm.
and communicating with each other. And I think that is one of the things I'm trying to change in my movies, that
Mhm. Is show
I'm
communication during sex.
totally, because
Yeah.
I think it's so necessary.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I think that we are so bad at the whole idea of consent, because people don't
Because
know.
nobody has the words. Like nobody's
Yeah,
been all the words that we were given from porn. And like I guess that the first time I saw it was maybe like 2001 or whatever. Like I was like 11 or something. And like the words are like harder, or you like that. Like those are the only options. You never hear somebody
uh-huh.
say softer. You never hear somebody say to the left.
Yeah,
Like, and so
yeah,
then when you are in the
yeah,
act of sex, you're like, well, I've never seen this. So I guess I'll
yeah.
say, yeah.
or 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 even like just questions like,
Mhm,
how does that feel? Do you
mhm,
like it? Do you want to turn around? I
mhm.
don't know, but just
Yeah.
kind of regular language. And I think that is really, really necessary, because especially young generations, obviously, as they are in lack of
Mhm,
great sex education, we all know this. So porn has become their sex education, and this is
mhm.
not, that was never, that was never
Intended
the
to be. It was
idea.
supposed to be entertainment. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be for adult people, not for kids and
People learning
teenagers.
how to have sex and using it as like a manual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what happens is that young people, they watch porn obviously because they want to learn about sex. We have always wanted to learn more about sex
Mhm.
since the beginning of our history. We are sexual human beings. That's the reality just of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And
That's how we
what
all got
happens is
here.
that, yeah, it is. We are, if we were not produced in a
In a
laboratory,
lab.
there
Yeah.
are
Sorry to
some
the lab
people,
babies. Love you, lab babies. Very
they are
cute.
also welcomed in this world,
Yes, so welcome.
but but the funny thing is that people go online, young people, they watch the porn and then they go out in their own lives, and instead of trying to kind of communicate and try to feel what they want and what they like and how to do, they just reproduce what they have
Mhm.
seen online, because that's what they think sex is supposed to be like.
Mhm.
And then of course there will be bad experiences
Yeah.
happening. That's obvious. So I think that it's really, really important for adult people, parents, educators, older sisters or brothers,
Mhm.
cousins, etc., just to talk to young people about porn, because we all know that they are watching it. So
Right.
stop pretending that they are not watching it. Start, a real conversation with
Yeah.
them about the values and about how you feel about the porn out there, and make them, aware, and give them critical kind of words to be
It's
able to think about it.
yeah. It's true. I mean, because people always ask us, like, can my 15-year-old listen to your podcast or whatever? And I'm like, I want to say, like, yes, like that's the age that they're learning. And I'm sure that you'd want to say that about the porn, but like what is the
But
age that you would recommend starting watching?
the kind of problem is that as I do this for a living,
Hmm.
and I earn money out of this, I
Yeah.
cannot go out there and tell
Right.
people to watch it if they're underage.
Totally.
I do
Totally.
know that they're probably gonna do that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot recommend it, obviously.
Totally.
So
No, it's just, it's always interesting to me because I'm like, we want to give them a really good education, but we also don't want to tell them too much too soon, but we don't like, I don't know. It's I guess a longer conversation than we're
but
ready
I
for.
But I think that what we can do is at least, if not telling them to go and watch, we can tell them to
Understand that a lot of it's
understand
entertainment. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk
Like
about it
the way that
and
you're
be
saying, like,
open about
Superman
it.
can't fly. Like we go into movies being like, okay, we're suspending disbelief. I'm not going to take notes on this, on how to like live because of Clark Kent's life, but,
Exactly.
and if there was maybe some disclaimer or whatever, I don't know how you make that sexy, but it's like, or even just by parents or friends being like, hey, if you do see porn, know that that's not all how everything works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, we should recommend sex educators
Yeah.
and good places online, because there are plenty, obviously, where you can actually learn about sex
Yeah.
and find, the answers to many of those questions that they obviously might have. And then there are also softer content that is not explicit but is still, erotic, and
Hmm.
that you can watch from an earlier age.
Yeah. We were talking, do you remember Real Sex on HBO?
Yeah.
We were talking about that last week, and like I feel like everyone had this kind of like soft core something that they watched in the
Hmm.
do you remember the first porn you ever watched?
I do. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember the situation because
Hmm.
I must have been 12 or 13.
Hmm.
I was born in 77, so this is, way back.
Hmm.
A girlfriend of mine had a pajama party for a group of friends.
Cool.
So we were in our pajamas, popcorn's ready, and she had found this VHS cassette that her
Hmm.
father had taped from
Oh
some,
my God.
cable channel or
Yeah.
something. And then we were like, oh my God, what is this? What is gonna be like? Super excited. And I remember kind of the backlash somehow. I remember watching it and going like, oh, what is
Mm,
that? What are they doing?
mm,
That's so ugly. That's so kind of, it felt, it didn't feel at all kind of sensual and sexy and
yeah.
erotic and
Yeah.
turn on. It felt more like ridiculous and parody and kind
Hmm.
of, that's not really something I felt that I was into at that age.
Yeah.
And then
But now we
later
know that
on in
her
life,
dad was into it. That's what I love about cassette
yeah.
tapes versus like I also saw it for the first time with a group of people, because like I think that's what you did, is like somebody would show a group of people, but we had
Yep,
the
yep.
internet, so it was just pulling up. But like having the dad specific tape, it's like now we know a little bit about Mr. Smith, a
Totally, that's the feeling.
little bit about his proclivities. But you guys have like a lot of different sections. There's Ex Confessions,
Mhm.
which I think is so interesting because initially it was an online space for people to share their sexual confessions.
And it still is. It's
Okay.
just that we added the films to that
Okay.
site, that it become, this whole kind of community
Mm-hmm.
of not only people, not only anonymous people all around the world writing their confessions, but also a community of filmmakers.
Yeah.
I have the last, it might be 4 or 5 years now, I have produced over 50 different directors short films for this
Mm-hmm.
project, and they are based all around the world. We have films from Finland and from the US and from
Wow.
Brazil and from the UK and from Berlin and from Australia. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really, really cool to see how many creators, and especially women, because we are really supporting lots of female directors out there,
Mm-hmm.
but also LGBTQI directors. We
Mm-hmm.
have many directors of different ethnicities, and to see this group of creators coming together, daring with adult filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what they can do and how their visions really are so different from
Yeah.
what we are used to when we think about mainstream porn.
Yeah. So I think it's so cool because like people can send in their stories and then you guys choose the confession to be rewarded with a 1-year access pass to the site. And you get to see your story on film because you guys shoot that story,
Mm-hmm,
which
mm-hmm.
is unreal. I remember there was like a dream project once where they did this, where like you recorded people's dreams and they took that and like
Whoa.
porn, right? Fun.
Whoa, I like
Like
it.
I know
Yeah.
anything where it's like crowd sourced, because then like you're saying, like you're getting these people's real experiences all over the world, and it's just like a very culturally rich experience.
Yeah. And what is so amazing is that suddenly you get to really see a diverse vision of
Mm-hmm.
sexuality, not just, the porn studs vision, not just the guy who likes boobs and ass and,
Right.
his car and his cigar and like his version of what is sexy. This is just like very different people's vision and stories of, how they live their sex
Mm-hmm.
life and what they are desiring and how they are desiring. And no, for me, it is really a dream project. I'm so happy, and it started in a very natural way because I had made a few movies and I was traveling around
Mm-hmm.
showcasing my movies, and always people were coming up to me and they started to tell me stories. They're like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Erika, I want to tell you about this. What do you think about this that happened to me?" And suddenly I realized, wow, this is rich. I don't have to
Yeah.
come up with all the stories
Yeah.
myself. I can actually just start listening to people around me,
Mm-hmm.
and here we go. And I'm so proud of the project. And also we have lots of different photographers. It's not only filmmakers, it's all the photographers, it's all the artists. We have
Mm-hmm.
a whole erotic kind of gallery of different artists showcasing their erotic work. And we all know that in social media, it's not so
It's
easy
not
to find
allowed. Yeah.
space for that.
Mm-hmm.
So here, if you are a fan of erotica, come by X Confession, check it out,
Yeah.
read people's stories, watch artwork, watch photography, and watch films.
Maybe submit an ex confession.
Oh yes, please do.
Like, so that's because we have a part on our site where you can add your first time coming story to the map. And like, so we can
Nice.
see where they came, how old they were, what they did, or
Ah,
whatever. Like, maybe we could do some masturbation
yes.
confessions on the films. Ooh, is that me?
What happened?
Somebody called me. You didn't hear that?
No, I didn't. It was on vibrating mood, maybe.
No, it came through my headphones. But yeah, we can see how they did it or whatever. So like, I don't know, maybe we do a little how come X confessions
Mm,
collab, like, because you guys do masturbating porn as well.
yes,
Yeah.
we do everything. We
Yeah.
do all of it, whatever, everything that feels right.
Yeah. Soft edition is or El Cinema.
El Cinema is our soft edition. It's for people who don't want to see the explicit, because
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of people out there
Mm-hmm.
very, feeling very sensual and very erotic, but they just don't want to see the penetrations. They just
Yeah.
don't want to see penises and vaginas and
Yeah. And that's
but it's just,
okay.
obviously it is. And that's
Yeah.
so, I think this is what we kind of need to start telling the world. You
Mm-hmm.
have to listen to yourself when it comes to sexuality. It's okay if you want lots of it. It's okay if you want nothing of it.
Right.
You have to listen to your needs, and then remember also that our needs, our sexual needs in life, or our sexual wants, they change during a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. It's sexuality is fluid. It's not something that is stuck with you forever, that you are in one way and you're
Yeah.
always going to be that way.
Yeah. Or you have
I
one kink forever or whatever. Like, you can go through phases,
Yes, you
just like
can. You
hairstyles.
are allowed to do
Yeah.
that.
You're allowed to do so many things.
Change your hairstyle, change your kink. I like it.
But like legit with softcore, I think for a long time, like you felt like it wasn't legitimate enough, because
Mm.
it was like, oh, like I'm scared of seeing that stuff. But that's literally okay. Maybe you need that as a stepping stone.
Mm.
Maybe you just need
And,
to see intimacy.
and also, I think that many people are kind of thinking that softcore is corny, so they
Mm,
don't want to watch it. somehow feeling that, you know, it's this kind of glamorous vision of porn without being porn, but it doesn't have to be that way at all. I mean, look at television, what has happened the last years. I mean, now you can go on Netflix or HBO or whatever, and you can see something pretty sexy.
They're showing penis now.
They even do sometimes.
I know,
you
it's
know?
exciting.
Sometimes you go like, oh my god, what happened, you know? And I think that our limits have changed a little. But what I want to offer to people when I'm talking about L cinema is kind of great looking films, but that are, you know, sensual. But there's still all this feeling of getting to understand why people are having sex. I think that's one of the keys, you know, kind of why are they into each other? What's their story? What's the passion there? What's turning them on, you know? Because sometimes also when I watch porn, I just kind of regular porn, it feels like it's very just people having sex, but you don't really get to be with them. Like, you know, like understanding them, like connecting with them. It's just you watching them. So
we talked about this, I like really, really early on, about the disconnect between like mainstream porn is what like a lot of, let's say, like cis guys, straight guys are watching, and then romance movies are what, you know, at least I and like a bunch of little ladies like me were watching. And so you would see these movies and get so invested in these characters, but then you never get to see them have sex. Or the other option is see two people who just met having sex, and it's like, no, it would be nice to connect those worlds.
Well, you found me.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I want it all.
I watched. Did you ever see Before Sunrise?
Before Sunrise, yes, it's
with Julie Delpy. Yeah. Like I just watched it yesterday, and like it's one of the most romantic movies of all time. And then you don't even get to see them have the sex. Like I want to see them have sex. I want that.
We can do that. That's the next version.
Okay, amazing. We love that.
That's, you know, that's a confession, and that's evidence of
So it could even be like
main cast.
No, but like a Julie Delpy, Ethan Hawke lookalike. Yeah, fine. I will suspend disbelief for that. So then I guess, are people like ever sending in like fan fiction too? Like that? Okay, great.
Yes. Yeah. There's quite a lot of fan fiction going on.
Oh, you guys, you're about to have so much fun on this site. See, I haven't gotten to watch like any, because like true confession, I've been either with my boyfriend and his roommates or my boyfriend and his parents, and he can't have sex for a reason that we already whatever, but like we're not like trying to get horned up. Like I'm trying to like abstain from it, but I can't wait until like the floodgates are open. It's gonna be so fun. I'm gonna just be submitting so much shit to your website. It's gonna be like Robert Pattinson lookalike.
Now I know all the fan fictions where they're gonna come from the next few weeks.
It's literally just from TikTok and me.
I'm like, oh my god, another one. Oh no, this one, I can't believe she's into that person.
But yeah, so I'm sure production has obviously changed over this time of COVID, and we were kind of talking about that with like normal TV shows, how they're using stand-ins for love scene and stuff. Like, how does that work with you guys? Like, what are the precautions that you're taking?
It got more complicated and it got more expensive. That's two of the things that have happened, really. What happened when it all kind of broke out in March was that we had to do a production stop, obviously. We couldn't keep on going with the productions we had planned, the bigger productions, because I shoot with quite a big crew. So those were stopped, but we kept on shooting smaller pieces with some of them kind of self-shot with performers living together, being couples,
Mm.
or even, you know, a director living with a performer, and that kind of films we've been coordinating during the quarantine from our offices together, kind of creating together with the performers the content. And then
Like
from
via
the
Zoom?
summer, yes, yes,
Wow. Okay.
yes, Zoom directing has
Yeah.
become a thing now. You know,
Wow.
this is happening all over the world, really, because people don't want to travel as much as before. But then I just shot a week ago, actually, here outside Barcelona, a series for Lust Cinema. That is another platform, another website I have online with more of series and feature films format. And there I had to test all the crew and all the cast, you know, for COVID.
Yeah.
And then we all got out to a masía outside Barcelona and isolated ourselves from the rest of the world during,
Little
you know,
NBA bubble, but for porn.
exactly. But and then we did lots of outside shootings because we're trying to be
okay,
as
great.
much outside in the fresh air as possible. And then
Sex al
people are,
fresco.
yep, exactly. And people are wearing masks and people are, you know, washing their hands all the time. There's a lot of alcohol going on for cleaning the hands, not for
Yeah.
drinking,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's more complex. Everything takes more time, and it's not easy. And now, of course, we are seeing again numbers when it
Another
comes
spike.
to COVID rising. So we probably gonna have to, you know, keep quiet for a
But
while.
you're going to
again.
have to keep doing it because people are going to need porn more than ever when they're stuck inside.
Yeah, but we are kind of lucky because we have quite a lot of material already shot.
Already
So,
shot. Yeah, that's good.
I'm doing lots of post production these days.
Yeah. Are there any porns where people are actually wearing masks, like little
Well,
porno?
of course there are, but you know, then I
But
mean, people we
it's not
saw a
as
rise
fun.
in. I mean, maybe some, but it can't be that all the time. It will
Yeah.
take, you know, the pleasure out of it, I think, when you
Yeah.
can't really communicate. I mean, it's kind of boring when you don't even see the mouth, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of acting with the eyes.
So funny.
But we saw a rise in confessions
Oh yeah.
where masks were
Yeah.
fetishized,
Yeah.
you know.
I was gonna say,
And
because then there is that side where it's like masks is like a little bit hot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, of course it can be hot. I mean,
Yeah. If you've got jacked up teeth, but your eyes are beautiful.
this is your chance.
This is your chance. And we were talking about ethical production and stuff. How do you guys make sure that that's happening on set? Like, how do you improve?
I mean, it's a complicated process. It's a long process. It's about trying to care about every possible detail and thing that can happen all the time. It's especially about preparing people the most you can from the
A lot of
start, when
conversations.
lots of
Yeah.
conversations, lots of, you know, documents. Even to be clear, we have the performers bill of right, where everything kind of is stated. What kind of rights do you have? What kind of responsibilities do you have? How do we work? How does it, you know, how does everything work? But then it's about getting people together and have us all really talk through what is going to happen before it actually happens, and make sure that people are consenting, and are consenting with enthusiasm to what we want to do. And I think one of the key pieces there is really talking to our performers and finding out who they would like to perform with, who
Mm.
are their favorite coworkers, what people are on their, their favorite lists, and then trying to pair those people together. And in cases we are presenting people to someone they don't already know, having them communicating before, having a date online, if that's the only way they can come together, but to talk through, who they are, what they like, what they don't like.
Oh, that's really good.
How they see the characters, etc. And then those conversations during the shooting, they are going on in the morning, the same morning of a scene, before a scene. We make sure that people, take their time, and that everyone knows that they have the right to speak up
Yeah.
if any problem arises, and from my experience, most people, they do, when they see a situation, they say, hey, I need a time, or I need bathroom, or I need to speak to my co-worker for a while. Could you, the crew, please get out of the room so we can have, a little time for ourselves. And yeah.
Yeah, that's good. No, and then in the event that there are like mistakes made or whatever, like you try to address them and not have them happen again. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, when we talk about sex, we always try to talk about safer sex and not about safe sex, because actually there's nothing such as safe sex. It can only be as safe as possible. So it's important to have, all those situations in mind. And then anything that happens, just try to get better and better and better and better, and make sure in the end I think it's about making sure that people are there because they want to be there.
Right. Yeah, you would never want anyone, like, it's supposed to be a fun space.
It's supposed to be a fun space. It's supposed to be, a good moment, and also for me, it's very important to make people, especially if they are new to the business, to make them aware in the beginning, even in the casting process, that if you are naked online, if you are going to have sex online, those images will be there forever, because you do sign documents with the rights to the production company. And there are people, always saying, hey, but could you not show them in Italy, for example, because my mom,
my parents are there. Yeah.
And then, I always
like,
say,
tell your mom to stop watching porn.
Exactly. No, but if they tell me something like that, I always say, hey, if that's your worry, then you are probably not ready.
Not suited. Right. Right.
So take your time.
It's enthusiastic consent too, with like what you're willing to put out there. Like, you should be excited. There should be no hesitation, because that's never good for anybody. If like there's like a regret or something, like from the creator's side or the actor's side. Have you found, because you work with American production teams and actors and European ones, have you found any differences?
Regarding the crews, the performers, etc. I mean, of course, there are cultural differences in general. There are, and there's, I think there's a difference in general between America and Europe, that here sex might be a little more kind of open and accepted and less hypocritical somehow.
Yeah.
Feeling is out there. But then, I mean, the American performers I worked with have all been really wonderful, very professional. Many of them so good actors. It's like you have this feeling, but do you all go to acting school? Do you all
we pretend to be funny all day. We're fun and happy.
No, but good at learning scripts and dialogues and getting into characters.
It's because we watch so much TV.
It
Like,
must be.
I made it. So our last episode was literally just on TV, and I made polls for like what TV shows people are watching. And we
Yeah,
were astonished how little TV some of our listeners watch. And
yeah,
I was asking Robin, who's our intern, I was like, Robin, they don't watch TV. And she's like, Remy, we have a very international audience. They might just not be watching those shows. I was like,
exactly. Ah.
oh.
More alternative stuff,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
good. We want people to watch more alternative stuff.
Totally.
No, and maybe that's one of the differences that I might see more with the European directors, etc. They might be a little more alternative, a little more
Hmm.
on more of the maybe artistic side
Hmm.
than on the more narrative side.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
And just so I'm clear, did you you started in not normal film, but
In very normal film,
in
I made
non-nude film? I know, I have to unlearn in mainstream film.
Well, I came from a totally different background. I
Okay.
studied political science and gender
Okay.
studies. That was my background, and then I kind of
Whoa.
came into this because I was born in Sweden, and
Hmm.
then I moved down to Spain and ended up in Barcelona. And here I had a problem to find a job in what I had studied. So I had actually it started kind of because I needed money and I needed a job, and I had friends working in the audiovisual sector. Most of them were working with advertisement. They had production companies, and I had a driving license and I could speak a few different languages. So hey, I got my first job in the audiovisual sector as a runner.
Oh, cool.
And I was picking up, actors at the airport, driving them to their hotels and to their sets, and stuff like that. And then I realized how much I loved the world of filmmaking, and I started to advance little by little, becoming, a production assistant, a
Learning
production
every step
manager,
on the
a
way.
location manager.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I went to film school. I took, a few courses in starting to learn more about, the technical side and how cameras work and framing and, everything technical, and also working with performers and actors and directing in general. And one day I wrote a little script called The Good Girl. And it was about, because when I sat down and I wanted to write something, I realized that my interest was female sexuality. That's what I kind of,
I love that with a gender studies background.
Yep.
And political science, because like how women have been held down.
Totally. So I just felt I wanted to do something different in that field. And I made this first short film, and it kind of became a small success. I put it online. I started a blog, erikalust.com, and I put up my film there. And in just a few weeks, the film had a short film, and the film had like 2 million downloads, and that's how it started. And I can't even tell you how it happened, or
because it was necessary.
Yeah, but
right?
internet was smaller back then. There was less noise, kind of less people doing less stuff.
Maybe.
And
yeah. And then
maybe it was easier to break through, I think.
Sure.
Somehow.
Yeah. Well, always like, but in anything, if you're like the only one doing something, and especially doing it well, like if people find that thing and they're like, oh, this is exactly what I've sought after this whole time, like, of course it's going to blow up and people are going to send it to their friends and like
That's how it started. I didn't intend for myself to become, this
That's amazing.
erotic film director and having a whole company, that was never really my idea. I just wanted to experiment.
Like a whole community of like sex educators and experts and people now submitting stories and stuff, and like just like it's such a hub for different perspectives on sex and sexuality. So how has the journey of building that community been, and like how?
Oh, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Road, because now, when you talk now, like 16 years after, it feels a little like, oh, she's successful. This went well. and it's been difficult. It's been very difficult. It took a long time, even if I had success immediately, it took a long time then to kind of start building something and to make my first kind of whole movie. And from there, the world has also changed different, moments. When I started, for example, there was a moment where I was shipping DVDs all around the world. My basic job was almost, packing boxes of DVDs and sending them to erotic stores
Yeah.
and to private clients. I was a huge customer of the post office back then.
Yeah.
But then everything changed, and the internet became stronger and faster, and streaming became a reality. And I think we were early in starting our first site with a streaming service that was lustcinema.com. And thanks to that, we kind of got out of the DVD sales and
Yeah.
into the internet and the streaming platforms. And today I have an office in Barcelona, and we have 40 people already working in our offices here. So it kind of become bigger and bigger, and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful, because it's such a blessing that being able to work with something that you really love and that you're about. And I mean, just imagine just being able to create characters and situations and film, and then go out and actually shoot them and see them become reality. It's a
super rewarding. Yeah. And it's a dream come true, but then you're also making so many people come too. What would you say are like your favorite things that you've learned like from the community that you've created over the career that you've had?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the people I met, how open and liberal and easy they are with their bodies and their sexuality. And I think that we can all learn lots from how good adult performers are at communicating their boundaries and their limits and what they want and what they don't want. And just seeing how sex is not such, because I think that we are so many people somehow brought up with the idea that sex somehow is something perverse and shameful, and that we are somehow afraid of ourselves.
I know.
Kind of a stupid way, kind of, but that we think, oh my God, I must be strange. I'm so.
You were that way too?
Yeah. I think we are all.
Yeah.
And just, seeing and being around people who are so free somehow of those fears around sex. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Will you say the word?
I started to like myself better, in my own body. And
yeah, that's so
because
nice.
I think we all struggle with that.
Everybody struggles with that. Yeah. Will you say the word passionate again? Because it cut out.
Passionate.
Okay, amazing. Just for the sound bite. Passionate about.
I'm so
passionate. Have you always have porn, or is porn, I'm assuming, part of your sex life now? Like, do you use it as much as you make it?
Well, I think I always had kind of a struggle with porn. I think I always liked more the idea of porn than I actually liked the porn.
Same, yeah.
But it became much better, because in the beginning it felt a little like I mostly had my own, and it was a little strange to watch the porn that I had made, because when you watch what you have made, somehow
it's disconnected.
You concentrate too much on like the technical aspects of it. So you go like, no, I don't like that. What, we should
Yeah,
have
that
cut that
shot is
differently. Or,
horrible. The
but
lighting is off. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
it gets too. But then when I go back and I watch stuff that I made, a few years ago, then I can enjoy it in a
Mm-hmm.
better sense, because I don't remember all the things that happened, or that I thought, or that I
Mm-hmm.
liked or didn't like. And really, with the guest directors, that's one of the best parts, that I
It's
can
like
watch
it's a
their
surprise.
part happier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's more exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you ever came, and was porn involved then?
No, because I was younger.
Okay. Okay.
So porn was not involved then, and
Okay.
I think that toys might have been involved though.
Ah,
I'm still a huge fan of sex toys. I love vibrating sex toys. I think
you were
they
allowed
are
to have a sex. How young are we talking?
quite young.
Quite young. And you were allowed
Quite
to
young.
have a toy?
Wait, I don't think I was allowed or not allowed. I think I just did
You
it.
just did it. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I still go there. I'm like, somebody told you it was okay?
I didn't ask permission. No, but I have lots and lots of toys, and
Mhm.
I really I think they are great complements to sex, and I think they are also great to use during sex with a
Yeah.
partner. And I
Yeah.
think there's lots of people out there thinking that kind of toys is just for yourself, but I mean, they are great when you share
No.
them.
I always say it's like the best show for someone else sometimes. Like, even if like they're just watching you enjoy, like they get to see that. Like, that's live
Yeah.
porn for
But
you.
but also, I have to tell you, use your toys on your male partners also, because
Hmm.
they might be a little afraid of using toys
Oh,
because they
yeah.
have not tried them. But if they try them, most of them gotta like them.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that they're probably not seeing toys introduced in the porn that they're watching,
Yeah,
so they don't think that that's normal, and maybe they'd be
yeah,
emasculated or stuff. Like, and you guys use toys in yours?
yes,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We are toy lovers.
Yeah. So we have a lot of people who have written in being like, oh, how do I introduce my partner to a toy without, like, maybe show them some films where like they see that
Mhm.
you're not the only person doing this, and like how it can be used, and how, again, we communicate and all that stuff.
That sounds like a great idea.
I
Yeah,
think it's a great
take
idea.
that tip, go out there, do
Yeah.
that, and then write and tell us how it went.
Yes. Take that tip to their tip. You know what I mean? You know what
You
I
are good
mean?
with words.
Thank you. I just love puns. I'm like the disgusting Carrie Bradshaw. No, I'm the better Carrie Bradshaw. Okay. I think final question for me,
Carrie
because
Bradshaw of 2020.
exactly, updated.
Yeah.
Um, somebody that actually gives her sexual opinions on stuff and doesn't mind farting in front of her boyfriend. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who is either interested in joining the industry front or behind the camera?
Uh, I mean, first of all, remember that there is still stigma to this. I mean,
Hmm.
this is a wonderful industry, really. I think that it is an industry that needs talent and that needs different perspectives and lots of people with different backgrounds. So I'm happy to see lots of
Hmm.
new people daring to get into this, but also remember at the same time that there is a stigma, whether you
Hmm.
are in front of the camera or behind the camera. Of course, it's bigger if you are in front of the camera. No one can say anything else about
Right.
that.
Right.
But even if you are behind the camera, or working, for a company that has to do with adults, you can get into situations. My accountant the other day was wanting to rent an apartment, and when
Hmm.
he sent in, his nomina and his paperwork, they told him in 10 minutes that they didn't want him in the building because
Yeah.
of the company he was working
Yeah.
for. So that's just an example of
Hmm.
things that
Can go
can
wrong.
happen, and
Yeah.
that do happen.
Yeah.
But then I also see a lot of change at the same time. While I'm saying that, I see a lot of change in our society. I see a lot more acceptance lately. I see a community of people respecting sex
Mm-hmm.
workers and
Mm-hmm.
the adult industry um, rising and becoming bigger. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like it's basically what we were talking about before though, is it can you live with that being online, being naked forever? Like,
Yeah.
does it not just can you live with that? Does that like feed your soul? Will that excite you? And if it does, then like the other repercussions that might happen will still be horrible, but at least you'll be doing something that you love.
And inform yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, the
Yeah.
best advice we can give to anyone. Inform yourself as much as you can. See if you can talk to someone that's already
Mm-hmm.
in the industry that can, give you their vision of how it works, or introduce you to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
I would say also be very clear with yourself about your boundaries before starting. Maybe
Yeah.
even sit down and kind of state them in front of you, so you know who you are and what you want and what you don't want. Because obviously there are risks of people wanting to persuade you into doing things that maybe you didn't want to do
Sure.
at first.
Yeah.
So I think that is really important to have in mind, and then to always scan the people you are getting involved with, that you might be working with. Who are they? What background do they have? Maybe ask for references to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that someone can tell you a little about who they are, because there's also a risk of anonymity somehow in
Yeah.
this business, and that's also an advice that we give to consumers just searching for porn who's out there. If you go to a website, check if there's an about page. Can you
Mm-hmm.
learn something? Can you read something about the company or the web page that you are watching? Who are they? Are they the people owning the company, or the directors, producers? Are they there with their pictures, their names, or
Yeah.
is it just kind of an
Are they going to
anonymous
be held
post box?
accountable? Right. 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 Right.
Exactly. Can you read an interview with them? Can you see what kind of values they have? How do they make a movie? Can you watch a making of? Can you see an interview with some
Mm-hmm.
performers to get to an idea of who
How
are the
their
people they are
experience
working
was.
with? How are they
Yeah.
experienced,
Yeah.
etc. Information is the key to consciousness, and to prepare yourself.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And then, yeah, so I just wanted to jump back because we're talking about information now. And you had said that you have children and stuff. And I know a lot of people like have to have these conversations and should be having these conversations with their children's, but they feel like they have to, in like this kind of like, ugh, I don't want to. But you guys have the pornconversation.org, which offers tools for parents to use to instigate the talk at home, which is really good. How did that start?
Well, it started of necessity, basically. It
Yeah.
started because, I had so many families and friends around me asking me how I did it, or how I do it,
Mhm.
or if I had done it, or,
Mhm.
have you talked to your daughters? How do they
Mhm.
know what you do? That kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
And every time I go, kind of, yeah, of course they know who I am and what I do. And and people sometimes are afraid of the idea. And then I say, but your kids, they also need to know what porn
Right.
is. It's not only
It's
my
not just a
daughters.
filmmaker's daughter. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I'm lucky because I know a lot about this, and I'm not ashamed of what I do, or who I am, or of sex in general. So I
Mhm.
can deal with questions
Mhm.
and stories around sex and porn. But I see that most people are wanting to hide. They don't want to have this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
and
totally.
and 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 I think they have to realize that if they don't have the conversations, they are not preparing their kids for the world we live in.
Yeah.
The same way, you would not send your kids to a bar or a club or a discotheque,
Without talking about drinking. Yeah.
would not do it. Nobody would do it. I mean,
Right.
it's just obvious, but we do send them online without giving them almost any information about what they can, encounter online. And I'm not only talking about porn here. I mean,
Totally.
there's many different things, of
Yeah.
course, but porn is one of them, and porn is a thing that we know this from studies from an age of 8, 9, 10, they will at some point watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe by accident, maybe because
At a
somebody
sleepover.
talked about porn, maybe at the sleepover, exactly. And there are many, different kind of porns out there, obviously, and you want to give them at least, some kind of background to how they should think, what they should do if they feel uncomfortable, etc.
Totally.
So, and then it's not only about, because sometimes I think we kind of get into thinking that porn is the devil, porn is the source of all bad, that has to do with why we have such a difficulties around sexuality in our society. That's not true. I think that it's the other way around. I think we have issues with sex in our society, and that's somehow why there's so much shitty porn out there.
Right.
And then
it's trickling the other way.
Exactly.
But it goes back and forth. And that's why these conversations are like so important to like.
Yeah. And then we also have to remember that porn is not only what some producers, do online. It's also something that anybody can do with their own mobile phone at any time. So it's also very important to talk to your young, teenagers about, sending pictures, shooting video material of their friends, etc. They can, lead to huge problems for them if they are not aware of kind of sexual behavior of what is accepted and what is not accepted, and body autonomy, like what who are you, what is your rights, what should not be happening to you,
Right. That's the thing, is when you put those images out there, and I don't want to like scare anybody off from sending snaps or nudes to like people that like you're committed to or whatever. But I mean, I have seen people, there was like a scandal in my high school, in a high school next to ours, where a girl sent nudes to one person, 2 different girls, but both of them just got disseminated. And the way, I mean, this was like back in like 2005, but still like the way that it was handled was such blame on the person who made it. And it was like, well, you put it out, so it belongs to all of us out now. Like the same way that like if a celebrity, and like a celebrity is obviously a different type of person, but like if their photos go out and are leaked, it's like, well, now it's like on you. And it's like, it's on us to not consume that stuff too. Like when somebody was like, do you want to see Chris Evans' penis? I was like, I don't think he'd want me to. So I didn't. But also like be a little smarter about what you put out. If you're happy about that being seen by anyone, your neighbor's best friend's dad, like great. But there's so many degrees of separation that it can get out. And like, you should be proud if you're proud, but if you're not, like, be a little cautious.
No, and then also remember that when you are young, you might want something that later on in life you change your mind, and it's not exactly what you want, and it's very difficult to, it's very, very complicated to erase a porn past, kind of, or even a sexy image, nude pic.
But also not something to be embarrassed about. We have Cardi B was a stripper. We've got so many women who did porn and did sex work and stuff. And I love seeing people own that and take it back and be like, yes, of course you can do these things. Or celebrities getting on OnlyFans. I think it's like really great and normalizing. But yeah, it's up to the person, and like check in with your headspace.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Coughing. Not COVID, not COVID. Don't come to me.
It's weed, I always say. Now it's not like I'm not sick. I'm stoned. Don't worry.
I'm drinking tea here, so
Amazing. I just want to see if Gabrielle, if you have enough internet. Gabrielle has been binging a lot of Lust Cinema, a lot of Ex Confessions, I think. So I just wanted to hear from them some of your favorite things, just so that you know our team is enjoying you a lot.
Sure. Yesterday, I actually watched The Sadistic Trainer, and I think that was by far the favorite one, my most favorite one that I've ever seen.
What is that?
It's on Ex Confessions. Basically, there's a personal trainer, and he's like leading a group exercise class, and then eventually, like, everyone starts kind of eyeing each other, and then they tie the trainer up, and it goes on from there.
This one was one of the first Ex Confessions that I made like years ago.
It's old school. It's old school.
God.
I also love Refugees Welcome Here.
Beautiful.
There's lots of really beautiful ones. Also, I think it's important to say.
Welcome Here?
Erika, do you want to explain?
Refugees Welcome. It's a film by Bruce LaBruce, actually, who's a great director and who made a few films for Ex Confessions. It's one of our guest directors, and this is such a lovely story between two men that happens, around a poetry club, and one of the men is a refugee. And the other one has a harder look, of and then there's a situation where the refugee gets into some men trying to beat him up, and this other big poet, because he's quite a big man, he sees the situation, gets in and saves him, and then there's a love story coming along.
That's so cute. Okay, I need to use my free subscription more. I'll just lock Ben out of the room. Actually, this is the perfect place.
Get into the bathroom. You lock the bathroom.
No, we're quarantined now. So like there's no parents, there's no roommates. Like this, I think this is my week.
This is
okay. And then Gabrielle, you wanted to say something else.
Yeah, I think it's really important to say, Erika, one thing I really love about the films on your sites is that you see all types of bodies. And I think that's super important because, in mainstream porn, it's always the same sort of bodies, the same sort of look. And
or if the bodies are different, it's like labeled as such. It's like about it being a different body, which is like, come on.
And again, from a porn literacy perspective, it's not building realistic expectations, right? For people consuming it.
Right.
No, and when it comes to diversity, I really think it's important for people to kind of see themselves, see themselves represented. And that's something that we are working on, just trying to, find people of different ages, different ethnicities, different body types, and not fetishizing on, those exact ideas, but just seeing them as,
a person,
human beings, a person coming together in different constellations and different situations.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love it. This has been so fun having you. I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Gabrielle, is there anything I missed before we let Erika go? I think the internet's gone out, maybe. Okay. Well, that's a sign.
So, no.
Okay.
No, sorry. This is the Israeli sign for wait, which I realize you don't know. So, you guys are giving our companions a free month of X Confessions.
Hell yeah. So yeah, companions, if you want to get on X Confessions, there's a little link below with a sign in and all that stuff. This is our week. We're going to do it.
This is your week.
Or month, actually. A whole free month. Woo! Are we spoiled or what? But yeah, Erika, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome. Can you tell everybody where they can find you guys online, where they can follow you?
Well, I'm all over the internet. No, I'm Erika Lust, Erika with a K. You can find my site and my blog on erikalust.com. You can go to xconfessions.com to check out all the confessions and the films and the artwork and all of it. And you can go to lustcinema.com if you are more interested in narratives, serious and feature films, also with explicit sex. And if you feel, no, I want something else, then you can go to L Cinema, where you can find the soft edition of our films.
Amazing. Erika, I have to ask this to everyone after a sexual experience, which this has been. Did you finish?
What?
Did you? Like,
did I? In this conversation, I'm not getting it. My level of English just kind of.
It's literally like, did you finish? But like, are you done? Are you good?
Are you done? Did you finish off?
Yeah.
Do you have something else to come? Now I get it. Well, I don't know. Maybe I should say thank you for coming.
No, I was gonna thank you for coming. See, you're much better with words than you think. Erika Lust.
One that I use now and then. It's not the first one I use. That one.
I love it. Thank you for coming. And we will see you guys next time on How Come. Say goodbye, Erika.
Bye. Kisses from Barcelona.
Yay. Oh, you're a joy.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of day.
Thank you very much, Erika.
And I'll see
Erika,
you on the internet.
You should know.
Nope. If you need anything else, you can always contact my team for pictures or links or whatever is needed.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know when it's out so you can do all the sharing and caring.
Sharing and caring, lovely.
Yeah. All right, I'm going now.
And thank you, Gabrielle, for watching the films.
Oh my God, obsessed every day. Every day.
Actually, I actually just spoke to. I'm talking to. I forget her last. Brogan now about contributing to the magazine. So excited about that.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah. Unreal.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
And see you around the internet.
Yes. Goodbye, Erika. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye. Have a good night. Bye.